So, I'm sitting here. It's a great battle in some sense in regards of truth and deception out there. And people saying there's no proof that Christ Mass is pagan. Really? You really believe that? Or are you totally blind? You know, everywhere in this so-called, whatever you want to call it, but yeah, well, this celebrations for Satan, it's all over. You have people fixing up gnomes all over the household. You know what gnomes are? They go back to house guards. And people are just putting them out everywhere, in the house. It's demons. So, and of course, then we have the hats, right? The hats. In Danish we call it, a gnome hat, pretty much. That's the best thing, I guess, in English. Going back to what? The gnomes. If you search on gnomes, you can see they have these hats on as well. You have Satan Claus, he has the same hat as well. I don't know if we also call it, let's see here, I don't know if we also call it a Jule, in regards of a Santa hat or something like that. I think we just call it a gnome hat pretty much. Any case, it's just the colors, the traditions that is found in Christ Mass, nothing to do with the Bible. Now, not having anything in regards of being pagan and all that, oh, okay. So, as far as I can, the last kind of studies I've just, done in regards of Mithra, well, Mithra is Sol Invictus. I actually just had a image where you see the image of Mithra and it says Sol Invictus underneath it. And then you can find the links in regards of Sol Invictus to, I think it was Helios or something like that. You can find the link from Mithra to, I think it was Apollo, and I think actually you can get the Helios to Apollo as well. In any case, it's all pagan sun worship in regards of the literal sun and so forward. And so, yeah. So you can link it all around, and then of course the Roman Catholic Church, this insanity of an institution, is just smart to make up Christ Mass in the 4th century at the time when the pagans are celebrating in regards of the birth of the sun god Mithra, Sol Invictus, whatever you want to call it. In regards of Roman traditions, you have Sol Invictus and you have Mithra that are the two prevalent of names. But again, then you see Mithra can be linked to, other names. You see Sol Invictus, which is pretty much just Mithra, again, finding links and all that. They can be linked to, again, others, So this is all pagan bullshit. And they celebrated, this was their celebration on the 25th December in regards of the winter solstice, in regards of the birth of the sun god, the literal dead sun, right, that God created and all that. So now we see Mithraism dying out in the 4th century. And then we see Christ Mass beginning to be promoted. Now I can't remember the date. I have all the information on my Facebook here and there where I have posted a lot, and I have some of the videos that I made later on. But to say that there's no connection in regards of paganism, in regards of Christ Mass, you have to be pretty oblivious, That's totally blind, all of it pretty much is pagan, yeah, all of it, the colors, the gnomes, we had what is called the goat thing as well. That's also said to go back to pagan traditions. I think it actually might be in regards of Odin. I'm not entirely sure. I have to check that up. Whatever the case, it's just pagan bullshit, all of it, pretty much. Yeah, so I don't know when people say others, and of course, if people are not saying, oh, there's no connection to paganism, then they will use, oh, you shouldn't Judaize. You see, the Satan has a way of trying different things, to get people to come back to celebrate his festivals. And of course, we can just go to the Bible and see it's not found in the Bible. And it begins, this Christmas thing begins in Rome, and then it spreads out in the world in regards of the Roman Catholic idea that Yeshua would have been born on the very day that we have the pagans celebrating the birth of their false pagan sun god. So, yeah, anyway, and of course, if you want to get more of the puzzles, you can go to John Chrysostom, which is one of those attacking the Judaizers, right? In regards of these, let's just quote him directly. I have it just right here actually. This is from 386 to 387. So what is this disease, the festival of the pitiful and miserable Jews, are soon to march upon us one after the other and in quick succession, the Feast of Trumpets, the Feast of Tabernacle, and so forward and so forward, I'm jumping a little here. But now that the Jewish festivals, which is just the biblical festivals in regards to the Torah, are close by and at the very door, if I should fail to cure those who are sick with the Judaizing disease. And he goes on and on in 8 sermons, and of course he begins to promote Christ Mass as well in this. It's somewhere in those, but he had apparently multiple sermons on promoting Christ Mass. Isn't that interesting? He was a Romanizer, and this is in the late 4th century, and he had apparently problems with promoting this thing. Apparently people didn't just buy it, There are apparently discussions of this new tradition. Yeah. Do you know what that means? That means that this was not something that was kept in the past. And then in regards of information, when it was actually made in Rome, it was 300 and something, where they begin to... and of course, well, if they want the pagans into the Roman Catholic Church, right? What would you do? The pagans has, the birth of the sun, of the dead sun, as their pinnacle of the year. They had different festivals and all that, but the pinnacle festival was in regards of the winter solstice, in regards of the sun birth. So, in regards to the dead sun, So what do? Well, as the Roman Catholic filthy religion always do, as far as I can see, Yeshua was warning his disciples about the Roman Catholic maniac institution on so many levels. And of course, in regards of being a debate in the past, in the 4th century, in regards of Christ Mass, and now we see the thing ongoing in some sense. But it shouldn't really be difficult, should it? Because we just go back to the law of Jehovah, and our master for that matter, right? Yeshua is our rabbi, right? So did he keep Christ Mass? No, he didn't. He didn't keep Christ Mass. What did he keep? Well, he kept Passover, 7 days of unleavened bread, the Festival of Weeks, Day of Trumpets, Day of Atonement, and the Day of Sukkot. And of course, he kept the weekly Sabbath as well. So, anyway. So, actually, I found another link, by the way. Another link to sun worship. The magic square of the sun. And it makes the number 666. So, it's known as the magic square of the sun. And the number, in regards of calculating, it's 666, as you get to the 666. Anyway, isn't that interesting? Anyway, this all leads back to pagan bullshit. Roman Catholicism is paganism. It has nothing to do with Christianity, And the little horn in the Bible thinks to change times and laws, okay? have the little horn, the Roman little horn, sitting on the Roman beast, the last beast, the fourth beast of the book of Daniel, has that fought to change times and laws? Indeed it has, hasn't it? We have Easter. We have actually a lot of information in regards of Easter conflict, in regards of Asia Minor and Rome. Polycarp starts going to Rome to try to correct them in regards of getting back to the real Passover, and that doesn't succeed. And then Rome later on writes to the congregations in Asia Minor that they need to apparently change, which of course they deny. And we have a wonderful letter. We have the letter going back to the Bishop Victor. And that would be late 2nd century, I think it is. But of course, Rome wins out in 325 pretty much. But still, there is a struggle going on. And you can see that in regards of, for example, John Chrysostom, because that's late 4th century. And he says there's many in our ranks, that are sick with this Judaizing disease and all that. So apparently there must still have been someone around that didn't agree with these, with this church council and Roman traditions, okay? Yeah, those Judaizers, right? It's like it's a bad thing, those legalist, extremist, radicals, fundamentalists, Jews, right? Oh, I've heard it all, right? Most of it anyway. I guess some might actually come by. So Christ Mass replaced the celebration of the false god Mithra, Sol Invictus. So instead of keeping Mithra in regards of they pretty much just Christianize it, put it on the same day, Christianize the insanity, and there you go. It's like the Antichrist in his front yard have a, gigantic Egyptian erect idol penis in his front yard. But as the Roman papists are saying, well, there's a cross on top of it. Oh yeah, so it's Christianized now. Oh yeah, okay. So just put whatever. Oh, the insanity of this system. I have a picture of Roman Catholics worshipping the Eucharist. That's looking like a sun with sun rays. Actually, I found some other interesting. If you want to see the image here, by the way, it's not so good quality, but here, bowing down, and there we go, and there we go. In regards to that, they love the cookie. They love the false cookie Jesus. Anyway. That seems to have some links as well, or there's something in regards to Mithra at that point. But anyway, whatever the case, it wouldn't be a surprise in any case. So right here, the golden calf of the Roman papists are their sun god cookie. Let the high pagan priest of Mithra, Sol Invictus, keep his dry wafer god for himself and leave the bed of the hall. You see, Pontifex Maximus, that was Constantine, right? He was the high pagan priest of Mithra, Sol Invictus. So, who do you think is the Pontifex Maximus in our days? The so-called Pope. Yeah, he's the Pontifex Maximus. Couldn't have anything to do maybe to lead you back to sun worship, the dead sun and all that. Anyway, incredible. But it doesn't have anything to do with any paganism, apparently, right? It's apparently Christianity, and yet the Christians didn't celebrate Christ Mass for 300 years. For 300 years, they didn't celebrate this festival. 300 years. And now, apparently, it's become Christian. Yet the pagans, had a celebration for the sun, the dead sun. And again, it has many names, or maybe it was in regards to Sol Invictus, maybe it was Apollo, but you see all the links, you have Sol Invictus, you have Mithra, and again, these two, you find a link. You have Helios, you have Apollo, and you have, I think there was one more I knew, Apollo. I think there was one more I should have remembered, but apparently, okay, Apollo, Helios, and the other way around. I thought I had one more. I think there's anyway. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Pagan bullshit. All of it. Okay. Sun worship. Anyway. It's just the dead sun, and now we have put as now we're saying it. We're doing it for Jesus Christ. It's like interesting. So counting to 24, 25. Where do you find that in the Bible? Well, actually, we are told to count to 50, but that's in the spring and not in the winter. But we don't keep those, or we don't keep that, right? Why don't we keep? Oh, you're Judaizing, right? Judaizing. Oh, you see the conflict in the beginning. You see how Rome works, the devil's deceptions. So let's see here. There's something I wrote 15 hours ago. So let's see here. Christmas or Yule is a pagan tradition of sun worship. The peak and pinnacle festival of the sun worshippers for the birth of their false pagan god, the sun. That would be the soul, in regards of the dead sun, right? You really have a problem in English in regards of sun and sun, It's really bad in regards of the English language in regards of that. So the sun god or soul god goes and hides behind many names, and his birth is at the winter solstice. Rome, so-called Christianized, the pagan tradition in the 4th century of Mithra Sol Invictus, and made it easier for the pagans to come into the newly established religion of Rome, further amalgamating and dividing the Christians with paganism. Now, when I mean newly established, I mean where the pagan mystery religion of Rome amalgamates with Christianity. It takes on sheep clothing, pretty much. And that seems to be it's still ongoing in regards of giving the Antichrist absolute power and so forward. But anyway, you see it in some sense. It's already forming in the 1st century. You already begin to see the corruption. The bad, poisonous darnel is sown after Yeshua has sown the good eatable wheat, and they're growing up together as prophesied. Anyway, and that we can pretty much, look in history. We can pretty much see the conflict between, anyway. So Rome Christianized the pagan tradition in the 4th century of Mithra Sol Invictus and made it easier for the pagans to come into the newly established religion of Rome. When so-called Rome become Christian, right? Further amalgamating and defiling the Christians with paganism. Sunday was the weekly day of Mithra Sol Invictus, and changes was made to that as well. So now most Christians are keeping the first day of the week in replacement of the last day of the week. All festivals of Jehovah has been wiped out and replaced with pagan bullshit. Time works for the devil, and when no one stands up for the truth, error grows. Error grows. And I will ask this final thing. Do you even care? That's a good question, right? We see this conflict between the Romanizers and the Judaizers. And we see the two gospels going out in the world also early on in regards of without the law and with the law. A gospel in the name of Yeshua in regards of leading you to the law or away from the law. Anyway, to hew down the laws of God, or actually to protect and guard and keep them, Or that was another word that was pretty good. Anyway, so here we have another. This is 16 hours ago. Christmas or Yule is a pagan tradition of sun worship, the peak and pinnacle festival of sun worshippers for the birth of their false pagan god, the sun. I've just taken, I've done, sitting here reading different sources and all that, and putting things together. There might be some issues here and there, but overall, I think it's pretty solid overall. we also have in regards of that was in some sense something else in some sense. Well, this is in regards to the Roman Catholic cookie Jesus, and they have this. They have this monstrance they put the cookie into that looks like sun rays, right? And it's just interesting to see the Catholics' own sources that says the ostensorium or something like that monstrance, the ostensory or monstrance, is a glass-framed shrine in which the Blessed Sacrament, and I say the false cookie Jesus, is publicly exposed. It may be of gold, silver, brass, or copper gilt. And then it gives some things in regards to where and all that. It continues. The most appropriate form is that of the sun emitting its rays to all sides. And that's from Instructions, Clement 5, apparently. Anyway, so they're just saying it outright, pretty much in regards of the most appropriate form is that of the sun. Sun, the dead sun, okay? The literal sun on the sky that, radiates its rays, okay? We're not talking about the living sun. We're talking about the dead sun. So we have another source here. In fact, according to the 1913 edition of the Catholic Encyclopedia, the most appropriate form for the monstrance is that of the sun emitting its rays to all sides. Was that the same source? That was the same source, pretty much. I just went to the website to verify that this was actually, so I put the information twice, I can see. So the Roman Catholic Church even admits the monstrance to be a sunburst. During the Baroque period, it took on a rayed form of a sun monstrance with a circular window surrounded by a silver or gold frame with rays. Anyway, here we have in regards of Mithraism, and of course Mithraism is very important to understand what is going on in regards of the Roman Catholic Church, and that Constantine was actually the high pagan priest of Sol Invictus, and Sol Invictus is Mithra. So Mithra, Sol Invictus. Some fixes that. That probably is a good idea to Mithra, Sol Invictus. So it's it's a unconquerable sun. It's Mithra. Sol Invictus, Mithra, whatever, Apollo, Helios or whatever. And there was one other that is anyway. There's many of these different names, whatever. Same bullshit pretty much, with some differences, of course, because paganism takes upon itself differences and all that and mixes things together, and just one big pile of garbage pretty much. But yeah, this is one source. Let's see here. Mithraism, the worship of Mithra, the Iranian god of the sun, justice, contract, and war, in pre-Zoroastrian Iran, known as Mithras in the Roman Empire during the 2nd and 3rd century CE. That would be AD, but anyway. This deity was honored on the patron of loyalty to the emperor. After the acceptance of Christianity, Roman Catholicism, let's say, Roman Catholicism, by the emperor Constantine, that, and I write here, still the high pagan priest of sun worship, Mithra, Sol Invictus. In the early 4th century, Mithraism rapidly declined. Now, why would it decline? And as I write here, absorbed into Roman Catholicism, ? Because that seems to be the case. It seems that the pagans were converted into the Roman Catholic Church, and by making it easier for these pagans to get into the Roman Catholic Church, they began to promote what is called Christ Mass. So that pinnacle celebration that were the pagans was, the thing is, Mithra was a competing religion of Christianity. It was apparently a pretty popular religion competing with Christianity. And soldiers, apparently that was the thing that they were, And I think there was some rules in regards of you had to be a Roman Catholic to be in government positions at that point when the empire became Roman Catholic. But the thing is, how can you make it easier for the pagans to lure them into the Roman Catholic Church? Well, you take their, celebration that they are so fond of, and you Christianize it, of course. So in the fourth century, we see Christmas coming about. I can't remember the year. I think Will might hit into it. I think it was like 336, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, let's go on, see if the date comes up at some point. Of course, one could then go out and verify the sources and all that. But anyway, let's see here. It is easy to understand that many of the emperors yielded to the delusion that they could unite all their subjects in the adoration of the one sun god, that is the dead sun god, Mithra, Sol Invictus and all that, who combined in himself the father god of the Christians and the much worshipped Mithras. Thus the empire could be founded anew on unity of religion. Even Constantine, as will be shown farther on, for a time cherished this mistaken belief. ... Actually only 3. It was especially in the western part of the empire that the veneration of Mithras predominated. Would it not be possible to gather all the different nationalities under his altars? Question mark. Could not Sol Deus Invictus, that would be Mithra. Again, they make the connection actually in some sense. They use Sol Deus Invictus, and they're already talking about Mithra. So, could not Sol, and I've seen an image of Mithra where it says, Sol Deus, Sol Invictus Deus, I think it was. Anyway, could not Sol Deus Invictus, to whom even Constantine dedicated his coins for a long time, or Mithras, Deus Invictus, venerated by Diocletian and Galerius, become the supreme god of the empire? Yeah, how would you do that? Maybe Christianize some of the things, right? And then we shouldn't Judaize, right? We shouldn't, the law of Jehovah and all that. It's just Judaizing. We shouldn't be like the Jew, And of course we shouldn't do in regards of Judaism, but Jesus was a Jew and he was keeping to the law of Moses. Although he was breaking all the traditions of the elders, but that's in regards of Judaism. So they think Yeshua as the destroyer of Judaism. So he has this name. They call him Yeshu, which is an acronym for may his name be obliterated or blotted out. Okay. So could not Sol Deus Invictus, to whom even Constantine dedicated his coins for a long time, or Sol Mithras Deus Invictus, venerated by Diocletian and Galerius, become the supreme god of the empire? Question mark. Constantine may have pondered over this, nor had he absolutely rejected the thought even after a miraculous event had strongly influenced him in the favor of the God of the Christians. Now, did Yeshua warn us about wolves in sheep clothing? I think he did, didn't he? Didn't he warn us about wolves in sheep clothing? And you shall know them by their fruit. Okay. Anyway, so just because someone say they are Christian, we should be careful, right? Anyway, ... As Pontifex Maximus, that would be Constantine. Pontifex Maximus, that the high pagan priest of Sol Invictus, that's Mithra. He watched over the heathen worship and protected its rights. ... It is true that the believers in Mithras also observed Sunday. What is Sunday? In regards to the venerated day of the sun god, Sol Invictus, Mithra. You get that point? What are Christians keeping today? Is it the last day or the first day of the week they're keeping? Well, it's in regards to Sunday. That would be the first day of the week. Anyway, also observe Sunday as well as Christ Mass. What did he just say? It is true that the believers in Mithras also observe Sunday as well as Christ Mass. Oh, Consequently, Constantine speaks out of the day of the Lord, but of the consequently, Constantine speaks not of the day of the Lord, but of the everlasting day of the Son, in regards of Sol Invictus. So when they're saying, in regards to the venerated day of the, when they say in regards to the day of the Lord and all that, who are they talking about? Are they talking about God in the Bible, or are they talking about Satan pretty much, Yeah. Anyway, do we see Sunday being a day of, do we see that Sunday is the weekly day of rest? No. That's Saturday. But of course, we shouldn't Judaize, right? Again, if you look in history, you can see this conflict, and it's ongoing from the very first century. You see Asia Minor rejecting Paulus as an apostle. Roman Pharisee Paulus says in 2 Timothy 1:15, that all Asia have rejected me. They have left me. They have turned their back, at me. And then you go to the Revelation chapter 2, verse 2, where Yeshua is making John or Yohanan write to Ephesus, where we know Paul had been, by the way. And Yeshua is saying there were some false apostles. They had to be tested, and they found them liars. Now, how many apostles do you think are going around in the first century? Well, in the name of Yeshua, in the name of Jesus. Well, I don't think that there would be that many, saying they were apostles. Now, of course, we know Paul was saying he was an apostle, right? And we know all Asia rejected Paulus. And, we know he was in Ephesus, right? I guess it's just all coincidence, Yeah. Or maybe they found out that there was some leaven in this guy. Anyway, so again, I think Yeshua is totally exposing this wicked system, totally, from the beginning to the very end. So anyway, part of the everlasting day of the Son, that would be the dead Son, So consequently, Constantine speaks not of the day of the Lord, but of the everlasting day of the Son. So you have to be, careful in regards of, when people are talking about the day of the Lord, they think it's Sunday. Where do they get that from? Do they get it from the Bible? Well, Yeshua said he's Lord of the Sabbath, right? That would be Saturday, not Sunday. Anyway, here we go in regards of the Catholic Encyclopedia reported. Helios Mithras is one god. So here we have a connection in regards of Helios, in regards of Mithra. And we have connections in regards of Apollo as well. Now, of course, Apollo is the one, Apollyon used in the book of Revelation and so forward. Different names, and, still same pagan bullshit. Anyway, so Helios Mithras is one god, ... Sunday was kept holy in honor of Mithra. And who is Mithra? The dead son, The 25th December was observed as his birthday, the Natalis Invicti, the rebirth of the winter sun, unconquered by the records of the seasons. This is from the Catholic Encyclopedia. Of course, you can deny that this information and all that, but this is from the, beast, the mouth of the beast, pretty much, Mithra came to the front in the first century. There was a true moral element in the worship of Mithra, the all-seeing. The author and protector of life, Mithra the purifier, the giver of immortality. A great Catholic church of Mithra overspread the lands from Persia to Britain, especially along the great rivers where the legions lay. It had regular and irregular clergy, ascetics, and mendicant friars, and diverse orders of faithful men. It had a regular divine service 3 times daily and a yearly round of festivals culminating in the birthday of Mithra, the 25th December, with meetings for worship and processions of noisy votarius. This is from original from the University of Michigan. As a Gregkin, Henry Melville, Early Church History to AD 313. Second edition, Macmillan, 1912. Original from the University of Michigan, digitalized November the 13th. Anyway, so I think in regards to as I understand, the Mithra religion already started in the 1st century, or maybe even before that. But anyway, it competed with Christianity. And apparently just died out, which seems to be in the 4th century. And you have to question, where did it go? Where did it go? If it died out, where did it go? Well, maybe these people following Mithra and all that became Catholics. Yeah. And those that didn't want to be part of the church was persecuted as well, of course, as Christians was persecuted as well. And, in the 4th century, as I understand it, there was more killing of Christians than all the centuries put together before that. So that was a great slaughter, as I understand it. And of course, they didn't like the Judaizers. So anyway, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. From the 4th century, Mithraism suffered from a series of problems. In 377, Gratian ordered the closing of Mithraea, and I think that's a temple. Might be in regards to Rome, I'm not entirely sure, or maybe more temples. Maybe it's all the temples in the Roman Empire, I'm not entirely sure. And Theodosius I in 394 declared the persecution of all the non-Christian cults. So non-Christian, they think, of course, they would think that Roman Catholicism would be, the real Christian. But anyway, Roman persecution against paganism was very severe under Christian intolerance. According to slightly exaggerated testimony of the rector Claudius Marmatinus, people hardly dare to watch the sun rise or set. And farmers and sailors neglected to study the heavens for weather signs or guiding stars. Also, the letter which Jerome, the translator of the Vulgate, wrote to the Christian women illustrates how heavy persecution was conducted during the late 4th century. So all those that didn't want to become part of, the Roman Catholic religion, was persecuted, right? If you don't want to join us, you die, pretty much. And that's, of course, the same thing with, Judaizers and other Christians that didn't want to accept this ecumenical thing of Roman Catholicism, pagan bullshit and all that. Anyway, here we have another in regards to Mithraism finally fell into demise within several decades because of its exclusiveness and lack of internal organization. Mithraism was thoroughly and rapidly eradicated after the decree. There was so little information about Mithraism that the Bishop Ambrose of Milan in 374 to 97 even mistakenly thought that Mithras was a goddess. So already we see in the late 4th century that it seems that this religion is dying out. So what would have happened in the 4th century? Well, we see in regards of Christ Mass. I do wonder where that information actually is in regards to when that was ongoing. I remember having found a source that actually. Okay. I think I have found it. Christ Mass in 354 A.D. Bishop Liberius of Rome ordered the people to celebrate on December 25. He probably chose this date because the people of Rome already observed it as the feast of Saturn, celebrating the birthday of the sun. In regards of feast of Saturn and all that. But but it's in regards of Sol Invictus, Mithra and all that. But again, there might be some connections. You have the whole December month where people are celebrating Christmas and all that. So I do get but in any case, so they're celebrating the sun in regards of what? In regards of the 25 December. So that would be 354. So, and then we see John Chrysostom in 386 or around there begin to promote Christ Mass in the East. Was it like Antioch, and was like was the city that also was called. There's two places that he began to and he had sermons and all that. And he apparently just loved Christ Mass and. And really went forward in regards of, but apparently you can see that apparently there was people that was questioning this. This was a new tradition that hadn't been kept for over 300 years by any Christian. And yet now, out of nowhere, we have this Roman tradition, and he actually points out, they knew in regards to he's clarifying that this is coming from Rome. So we see all the puzzle pieces and all that. Anyway, so what do we have more? In AD 274, the Roman Emperor Aurelian gave the cult of Sol Invictus official status alongside the other traditional cults of the empire. According to a manuscript known as Chronographic of 354, the birth of Sol Invictus was celebrated on December the 25. Given the fact that the Mithraists equated their god with Sol in one way or another, it is understandable that they would then appropriate the established state as their own. So, yeah, you can see the links in regards of Sol Invictus and Mithra and all that. It seems to me it's pretty much the same thing. There might have been some, different differences, in regards of, but overall it was sun worship. So yeah, and you see the links where it's where the words are getting in some sense intermixed. You have Sol Invictus and you have Mithra and so forward. And you see sources here and see sources there. And I just saw an image of Mithra where underneath it it points to Sol Invictus. So anyway, which also verifies the information that I've read on that as well. So but it's nice to have more more information, more sources and all that, right? More data points, pretty much. He goes on that the problem for the skeptic is that no evidence exists to suggest Aurelian was a Mithraist. So here he mixes Mithraist, or that he even had Mithraism in mind when he instituted the feast of Sol Invictus. The date of the festival became important to the Mithraists because they equated their god with Sol. Sol Invictus. As far as I can see, by the research, it's pretty much the same. Sol Invictus, Mithraists, they worship the same pagan god. Again, there might have been some differences and this and that and whatever, but pretty much just the same pagan bullshit. Yep. So. But it does verify, the date of the festival become important to the Mithraists because they equated the god with Sol. So, so they believed it was the same. I guess it might be a little harder to, but looking at the soldiers, they are the Mithraism is popular in regards to the Roman soldiers, and we have the Roman emperor being the Pontifex Maximus of Sol Invictus, and that it makes pretty, you see all the links. It makes perfectly sense that they are actually pretty much the same. But again, many different names, Helios, Apollo, and so forward, right? Sol Invictus, Mithra, and others that I can't remember. But anyway, in the 4th century, Socrates Scholasticus stated that Christians of Alexandria and Rome partook of the mysteries, the love feast of the Eucharist, on the first day of the week, Saturday evening. So apparently, I don't know when Rome changed in regards of midnight to midnight instead of sunset to sunset. But at some point they corrupted it even more because, biblical, it would be sunset to sunset. Though they also held worship meetings on Sabbath like almost all other churches. By the 5th century, some men stated that most churches, such as Constantinople, met both on Sabbath and first day, Saturday evening. That Rome and Alexandria met only on the first day, Saturday evening, and no longer on Sabbath. So you see, this is from Wikipedia. That's just interesting that they put this Saturday evening into it. So it seems like the Roman time actually was in regards of sunset. I need to didn't do more research in regards to that, but anyway. Yeah. So yeah, anyway. And by the way, in regards to going back to Aurelian, the problem for the skeptic is that no evidence exists to suggest that Aurelian was a Mithrist. But I don't know what evidence there was if he was in regards of Sol Invictus anyway. Wasn't he just the emperor? So in regards of, he might just have done it without, having. So I don't know why that would be an argument against. Against Sol, Sol Invictus, or the Mithrist, anyway, whatever. So here we have another. Yet celebrating Christ's birthday on December 25 is another mistake. At first, it was held on January the 6th, and it actually continued to be commemorated on that date in the Eastern Church. Now, I haven't looked into why anyone would keep that date in regards to January the 6th, but anyway. What happened was that, as in many other occasions, a prior celebration was Christianized. What was Christianized? The birth of the sun god, the pagan sun god. He actually goes on. A prior celebration was Christianized. The day of the unconquered sun, which was celebrated on December 25, the winter solstice, when the sun, as newborn, begins to lengthen the day and decrease the night. And this is from Antonia Marco Martinez, born, professor of Latin and all that, and so forward. Here we have another. Mithraism was a religion very widespread throughout the empire by the Roman legions, and as a religion of salvation was clearly competing with Christianity. As in many other cases, the date became Christianized, moving the celebration of the birth of Jesus to the date of the birth of Mithras. Oh. Anyway. We have, this is from COG Writer. He says, anyway, mainstream Christianity will continue to try to overlook the fact that it adopted pagan practices, condemned biblical ones, and still prefers traditions of men over the Bible. And that is exactly what we see in history. Exactly. We see the Romanizers working for the Antichrist and the system and attacking the Judaizers and the Bible, The Romanizers are promoting Roman laws and traditions and customs and attacking the biblical ones, the so-called, where the Judaizers are upholding them. Actually, I should stop saying so-called Judaizers because, you can call, it's not a negative term. They, the Romanizers put a negative term on it, but they're really not negative, Anyway. And of course, we see this battle ongoing as well. I was just seeing in regards of, let's see if it was where was it? In regards of information on Christmas and all that. Let's see if we can find it. Paul. Of course, they would quote Paul, right? Sadly, I don't have it. I'm sure, should be here someplace. In regards of the Judaizers, right? Of course, that goes back to Paul again. And of course, Paul was the one that started the cursing, right? Cursing of people. Did Jesus say we should curse anyone? No, he didn't. So what does Paul do? Well, he curses. He curses twice, right? That comes with another gospel. I do wonder who that could be. Could it be the Judaizers? That's also going back to Paul, calling them Judaizers, right? Sadly, maybe I took a screenshot of it actually. In regards of, oh yeah, here we go. This is from, I actually did take a screenshot of it. This is from Neo Deutsche Harte Berliner. Yeah, you can see it here. So let's see what. So she goes to what? Philippians 3:2. Be aware of dogs. Be aware of evil workers. And who are these evil workers and dogs? Be aware of the Judaizers. Yeah, typical. So, and then she goes to the Epistle of Ignatius to Magnesians. Ignatia, okay. So, let us not therefore be insensible to Christ Jesus and to Judaize. For Christianity did not embrace Judaism, but Judaism Christianity, that so every tongue which believeth might be gathered together to God. Yeah, well, did you know that actually the first believers was Jews, Yeah, anyway, and that it actually, salvation comes from the Jews, right? I'm not talking about Judaism, because Judaism, Yeshua was breaking all the traditions and he pissed them off pretty much. They were very, very angry at him because he was pissing on all their man-made traditions, So, and they didn't like that, So they see him as the destroyer of Judaism. But what Yeshua just wanted the people was to go back to Moses, in regards to the law of Moses. Anyway, but this is the thing that it has been an ongoing thing going on for, hundreds of years, this battle. And even when Christ Mass is beginning to be promoted, we can see a conflict between people, So, yeah. And the conflict is still ongoing. And the devil is still trying to keep the people in these traditions, Let's see here. So it causes so much commotion and distress, the statement of hierarchy as simply as that performed by... Oh, no, that we actually need to take it all. This is in regards of... no. Okay, apparently it didn't... I thought I had it all actually someplace. Because it's actually, in regards to the context, it's actually much better. But he's talking about, we could go and take it in context. Apparently I didn't quote the whole, we have problems regard of going to the link. Facebook typical. Let's see here. And we have the great feast of birth of Mithra is celebrated, of course, the day of the winter solstice, December the 25. But let's just skip that. What is it in regards of? In short, as Laozi says, the mysteries of Mithra were a great religion. I think it's a quote from that book, all these historical issues have been extensively studied since the late 19th century, and they are known. But generally, they do not reach the public because the authorities and the responsible religious do not know or do not want to know, and much less to transmit to the faithful whom they should consider not ready to know the historical truth. So it causes so much commotion and distress, the statement of hierarchy, as simple as that performed by Pope John Paul II on December 21, 1993, when he acknowledged that Christmas Day replaced the pagan festival of the invincible sun, which coincided with the solstice winter. The media news were echo of that, and we can easily locate it anywhere in Hemeroteca, and that's apparently a place where news data and magazines are stored and all that. So I guess newspapers, whatever. Anyway, so directly from the mouth of the Antichrist, that Christmas replaced, so-called, well, replace whatever you want, the sun birth, in regards to the pagan sun god and all that. It's pagan tradition, it's pagan bullshit. You don't find it in the Bible. Anyway, I tried to make a video to David Wood in regards of, but I guess it seems like they had an agenda actually. So that's very sad. It just seems so slick, things here and there. Something seems wrong. So you have one guy that have so-called studied the topic, right? And say, nothing paganism in Christ Mass. Already, just incredible. Nothing pagan. You have to be, either you're totally blind or you're totally deceived, that's the only, what is it called? Either you're totally blind and either you're totally blind and deceived, or you're directly lying and working for the devil in regards to Romanizing, So, and then David Wood, he says, oh, I haven't really researched this and all that, and yet he goes on to attack those people saying it's pagan. But he says he hasn't done, he hasn't done research on it and so forward and blah, 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 blah. And yet he goes on to make fun of those people saying it's pagan. Something seems fishy, Anyway, of course, the best thing is to do your own research on these things, because there's a lot of liars and deceivers out there. And look at the connections themselves. All the information is out there. It's overwhelming of I did the research like 4 or 5 years ago, and I got a little turned on again in regards of, seeing this video in regards to David Wood, and I did a little more researching again, and finding more links, and I don't really care about all these things because I feel like I'm wasting my time a little, and yet I still learn things from it, right? But it's the Bible that is the foundation in any case, and Christmas is not found in the Bible. So yeah, so even whatever they say in regards of this and that and this and whatever and all that, find Christmas in the Bible, commanded to be kept. Well, it's not there. Oh, it's not there. Okay. Did you find anything else in the Bible? In the Word of God? Did you find any festivals, maybe that we're not keeping today? You did? Maybe? Do you think we might keep those? Oh, yeah. Anyway, it's just incredible. So that's pretty much it. But I think it should be very easy. Well, maybe not easy, but when you begin to study these things, look into lexicons, look into sources here and there, and see other informations that other people have researched and all that. You begin to collect all the puzzle pieces here and there, and yeah, it all connects. It's just, it makes sense. It all connects. It's just, you begin to see the image. The information is out there if you want it, And I haven't, totally solid in regards of everything, in regards of what happened in the 4th century, but I begin to see what was going on in the 4th century. I begin to get an idea, a pretty good idea what was, but, I would still like more information because, more data points and all that. And yet, I'm still like, we just need to focus on the Bible, yeah. In any case, so at least I've there's at least some links for you, I guess, to take in some sense. And again, the best thing you can do is to look things up yourself. If you have an old lexicon or, something of that nature, or a family member have a lexicon, a lexicon is to be used, right? So get some books down and open them up and look into Christmas, Yule, the Christmas tree, and all these different things that you can remember from from Christmas or the New Year, so-called New Year, the pagan New Year of Janus. Yeah, it's all pagan. It's all pagan. Everything is pagan. And by the way, we're also following a pagan calendar. Did you know that? It's the Roman, Julian, Gregorian, Popish, sun calendar. Nothing to do with the biblical calendar. So it might be a little overwhelming, but just do your research and you will grow little by little, and you will find out that people don't care about the truth. Most people just want to live a lie, apparently. Live in deception. I don't know why people would like to do that, but that's apparently what people want, and they want to defend their cozy pagan practices, Oh, that was in regards of, I think I had another source in regards of some pagan, oh, no, that's a movie coming out, but apparently, I would like to see it. It's just sad that it actually comes so late. Apparently, that's from the 119 Ministry. They actually had some information in the past, but apparently they removed one of the videos on this. Apparently, they found there were some mistakes in it. So instead of just telling that there might be some mistakes and maybe telling where these mistakes were, they just removed the video. It seems a little fishy. It seems a little fishy, but because as far as I probably did see it like many years ago, and as far as I remember, there's some pretty good information as well, that can help you to also lead you in the right direction, but yeah, so they took it down and wanted to make a new edition. Apparently, that didn't seem to come about as far as I can see, but now some are releasing a new video, but I haven't seen it yet, and there seems to be problems in regards of getting it on YouTube and all that. Apparently, it seems to have been up for a while, then it was closed down again. I don't know what is going on in regards of that. But it would be interesting to see it. They seem to have interviewed different people and all that. But overall, I don't need more information because it's pagan. But of course, it's nice to get the information out there, and stir up the devils out there, and see how people react to it. How to actually see how people. It's incredible to see how Romanizers or the world will go so far to defend this, and of course attack the Jewish festivals. And by the way, in regards of the discussion between David Wood and the other guy that was called something in regards of philosophy, whatever, and he goes on in regards to, hey, if you want to keep the Jewish festivals and all that, it's like pagan roots and blah blah blah, trying to smear, what's it called, smear in English? He's trying to smear the festivals of Jehovah. So sadly he didn't go on that campaign, because that was pretty much one of the things that just exposed him, I think. Because you're attacking the real festivals of Jehovah, and yet you're defending Roman traditions and saying, oh, it has no pagan connection. Yet, there's those festivals that found in the Bible in regards of pagan, you have to be kidding me. That's just not right. That's not right. Anyway, but of course, we see that down through history, Yeah, if you want to just pick like John Chrysostom, just look at John Chrysostom, attacking, and he really takes it to the, to some sense of next level in regards of attacking your Judaism and all that, right? And that's a little in regards of promoting Christ Mass, and he talks about, oh yeah, but in regards of Rome, they knew in regards to the birth and blah blah blah. Oh really? It's just a coincidence that in the 4th century, where they're trying to, get the pagans inside the Catholic Church, that they come up with this Christmas tradition on the 25th December, and yeah, and then it begins to be promoted like 300 years after, 300 years when Christians haven't celebrated this festival at all, 300 years. Anyway, Roman tradition bullshit, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah. So, and again, you can have people saying, oh, well, this source is not valid, this source is not valid, this no, just because it doesn't agree with him. Like the lexicons, he was talking about one of the lexicons, big English lexicons, yeah, but, it's, regards are wrong and this and that, and what was he said, Michael Rood was a moron, and Zachariah was a crazy fundamentalist, and, oh, give me, and of course, Jim Stanley, I can't remember what he said in regards of, I think there was something in regards of that as well, but he mentions him at least in regards of this. Well, of course, that's nice because then people have the links for where, they would maybe go for more information, so I guess that's good, but, yeah. Now, of course, I don't agree with promoting Hanukkah and Purim and all that, but, and we see, but, overall, that Margaret, it's not the, it's just, yeah, that's my view, I've looked into Purim and Hanukkah, and my conclusion was nope, I'm not going to do that. I don't see a reason to do that. Yeah, but anyway, maybe I'm too radical, or maybe I'm just too whatever, but you absolutely can see the links, and even, you can just see standard documentaries that are not even out there to attack this festival as pagan, talking about it as well. And we go, oh yeah, pagan traditions, right? This and that and all that. And they don't have any bones in it at all. They're just, yeah, it's pagan, whatever. You can even find Christians out there and learned people that will say, yeah, it's all pagan and all that. Pagan. But yeah, but, what matters is in regards of the heart and all that. So let's just keep it and all that. But yeah, it's all pagan. Yeah, but who cares, apparently. All right, So at least that's a little honest, at least, At least it's telling the people out there that actually, hey, it's pagan. What? Someone might actually, hey, what did he say it was pagan? Wait. Let's go back to the Bible and have a look in that. Do we find Christmas any place? Oh, we don't. Oh, we actually find some festivals that we're not keeping nowadays. Oh, you look up in the lexicon. Oh, it's pagan. Pagan link. Oh, it's all pagan. Oh. And then, of course, the question is, should I continue to keep it? We are lying to the children in regards of deceiving them and lying about Satan Claus, which can be very, very bad because they might end up putting Jesus in the same category as Satan Claus and Easter rabbits and Tooth Fairy and gnomes and all that, and they lose faith in Yeshua. Well, the devil is a slick one. We should teach our children the truth. Why should they believe that Jesus is true if all the other ones are fake, right? When you as a parent has lied to them and they find out that this is not true, and this is not true. And then, of course, in regards to Jesus, well, he might not be true either then, right? And you end up ending up going in the wrong directions. The devil has done his deed. Anyway, so, yeah. It's called The Christmas Question in regards of this new documentary. So, I can see others are in the same position as I am in regards of it's very, very close to the event itself. So, the bubbles are nearly going out. You have 2 days or something like that, where people are 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days, depends in regards of when you. So 2 or 3 days, right? 2 or 3 days. That's all. So all I saw one of them. He said, it should have been released on the 1st of November. I would have said in the beginning of December would have been a good, but even earlier would probably have been even better, better, because it's beginning. The ball is rolling very early on, and now we have like 2 or 3 days, and then people might be focusing on something else like the pagan New Year of Janus and all that. I don't know. Of course, there's still some Christmas thing celebration in and after this and all that. But I think it would have been a good idea to release it. But they were working on it and so forward. So it's not like it's just the release date is not the most the best timing. But it's nice to see, and apparently I think it will be free, as I understand it, which also is necessary. It needs to be free because people don't want to, people don't go look for this information. So if they have to pay for it, they won't look at it. So it has to be free. If we have a lot of information from a guy in regards to Too Long in the Sun. The problem is he has some free information, where he sits there and talk and all that. But the problem is that all his materials that he had made, you need to pay for. And long ago, many years ago, when I was interested in it and all that, I couldn't get the information because it cost money. I then tried to order it, but because I'm not living in the US, I couldn't order it to Denmark. And then I had to talk with the guy, and then he just stopped replying back to me. So overall, I never got the material. That's the problem, right? Because when the iron is hot, you need to get the information out there to people, right? Instead of selling it. I do understand that money runs the world and all that, but it's just If you have been giving truth, get it out there, right? Anyway, and we have the internet to spread the information very easily in our days, right? Because the internet you can just download, you can have But again, it's very hard to get someone to buy something or look at something if they need to buy it, if they're not even interested in the first place. If it's free, you might get a little chance that someone might come by and just have a look, if it's free, But you won't get any atheist to pay money for something, if he's not even interested in, it's just what, it's just. Anyway, anyway, that's just my view, I do understand in regards of, DVDs and so forward. If you want a hard copy that you could buy it and all and pay for it and so forth. I do understand that, and books and all that. But we have the possibility of having things free on the internet, and pretty much going all around the world very easily. We also have to remember that not all people have the money to pay for these things, because we have this weird money system that some money are worth more than other places and all that. So, the value or whatever of the anyway. So, I guess I don't have much more, but to say that if people can't see that Christmas is pagan, I think they're utterly blind, if they can't see the pagan connections with it. And it is interesting in regards of, you can there's so many different sources of, pagan, let's see, pagan winter solstice, and they have a lot of things as well to say about these things, and they have absolutely no problem in regards of celebrating it. And of course, one can get information on that as well. Pagan rituals for Yule, the winter solstice, Yule or Yuletide is okay. They call in English is apparently it's Yuletide. Now in Denmark we just call it Yule, But Yuletide apparently Yule or Yuletide in English apparently, according to Wikipedia here. Connected the original celebration of Yule to the wild hunt, the god Odin. Oh, we have another connection in regards of Odin, right? So yeah, Yule or Yuletide, Yule time or Yule season is a festival historical observed by Germanic peoples. Scholars have connected the original celebrations of Yule to the wild hunt, the god Odin, and the pagan Anglo-Saxon Monterant, whatever, I don't know what that is. Something in regards of paganism. But anyway, so and Yule goes back to Jølner in Danish and all that. So you have Yule, Jølner, Odin. It connects. Yule connects to Jølner, Jølner connects to Odin. You see you can draw lines between them. Isn't that interesting? Because that makes it whole. You have Yule, different Yule things. And if the words just is pretty much connected to Odin, well, of course that's just one more pagan connection, right? But anyway, this is Wikipedia and all that. It's all over, we have in regards to the Yalda night. That is an Iranian festival celebrated on the longest and darkest night of the year. We also have something in regards of Saturnalia in honor of the deity Saturn. But anyway, but that that's close to the events at least. The julebord, yeah, we have the julebord where we eat a lot and we drink like, we drink snaps, which like totally shoots the brain out, and of course whoring and whatever, Well, having fun pretty much, but is it the spirit of the Bible, Are we told to do these things? No. Anyway, so apparently julebord, I'd forgotten about that. And of course here we have a picture of gnomes on the table as well, which is false gods. It's all over. The pagan bullshit is all over. So yeah, it's a Yalda night. Yaldanite Persian. I do wonder if that might be linked to maybe Mithra. I think that was something in regards of, I don't know. But overall, again, here we go in regards of Mithra. Let's see here. In 1979, journalist Hashem Razi terrorized that Masrikan, the day name festival of Mithra, that in pre-Islamic times was celebrated on the autumn equinox and is today still celebrated in the autumn. Not really. I thought we would have had something in regards of. That's not really going. Anyway, let's go back. Yalda night. A description of pagan Yule practices is provided. Notes are Hollander's own. It was ancient custom that when sacrifices was to be made, all farmers were to come to the heathen temple and bring with them food they needed while the feast lasted. Not sure if that has anything to no. Anyway. Do your own studies. I think what is it called, pagan thing. Also the what do you call it? Yeah, we have some the Nordic religion. It's getting more, what shall we say, popular. That keeps to Thor and Odin and all that. So, and they have zero problem with Yule. Of course they don't have any problem with it because it's pagan. Pagan was a Vika maybe or something like that. Winter solstice. Let's see here. Anyway, I think it was like over in England and then upwards there was like an area where they just had gone totally, witchcraft, pagan, and all that. And I read an article many, many years ago, from that perspective. And, that was, interesting in regards to these celebrations and all that. And, they don't have any problem celebrating these things. So, but the thing is, the pagans have a problem celebrating the festivals of Jehovah. Isn't that interesting? Symbolism, this is from Vega.com. Symbolism of Yule, rebirth of the sun, the dead sun, the longest night of the year, the winter solstice, introspect, planning for the future. Symbols of Yule, Yule log, a small Yule log with 3 candles, evergreen boughs or wreath, holly, mistletoe hung in doorways, gold pillar, candles, basket of glow-studded fruits, a simmering pot of vasos, poinsettias, Christmas and it goes on in regards to food of Yule and herbs of Yule and incense of Yule and colors of Yule, red, green, gold, white, silver, yellow, orange, and all that. And I think they go so far to that it represents something and all that bullshit. But anyway, so yeah. They call it the pagan god of Yule, activities of Yule, caroling, wassailing the trees, burning the Yule log, decorating the Yule tree, exchanging of presents, kissing under the mistletoe, honoring Kris Kringle, the Germanic pagan god of Yule. So here we have another, pagan god, apparently, Kris Kringle, the Germanic pagan god of Yule. So we see the link in regards of Odin. We see apparently a link in regards of Kris Kringle. I have no idea what that is, but I guess just another pagan connection, And if you just say, if you, in Denmark, when you connect the word from Yule, to Odin, well, what is then a Yule tree? A Yule tree? Well, if Yule actually is in regards of Odin, well, that would be a Odin tree, right? And in regards of the Santa Claus, we call him Yule man. So that would be Odin man, right? And so forward. Anyway, and Yule tree would be the tree of Odin, So yeah, anyway. But it has nothing to do with paganism, right? Yeah, okay. Whatever. You do the research for yourself. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's, I really don't want to. I would like to see the video that they made. I would see it actually up, but apparently it's not really to be found at the moment. But I guess that's going to be an interesting thing. Oh yeah, by the way, the symbol of the sun in alchemy is a circle with a dot in the middle. When you're looking into the occult and all that, it's something to because it's pretty much just we have pagan sun worship everywhere. Also, the number 666 is also connected to sun worship. Interesting, right? Because the number 666 is the number of the beast, right? So that's another connection in regards of sun worship. You have something called the magic square of the sun. Now this is occult pagan bullshit and all that. But the thing is, the numbers goes up to you have the numbers, and numbers, and they when you add all things up and all that, you end up 666. So yeah, and that's called, that's called the magic square of the sun. Isn't it interesting? It adds up to 666 in regards of the sun, and that goes back to pagan sun worship and all that. Anyway, you can look that up for yourself. Yeah, actually, I'll just turn the camera around. Here we see the magic square of the sun, and you can see, for example, there you see, and these lines, 111, 111, 111, 111, and all that, and you get to 66, and also the other direction, 666, as you can see down there, having And you can also see like the square over here. You see it goes to 6, 6, 6. And you can also do it in the other direction, you know. So, but isn't it interesting that the number 666 now again is found as in regards of a connection with the sun? And then of course when you look at Revelation, you have Apollyon and all that, which as I understand is actually just Apollo. That's two names, two words. I think one is Hebrew and the other is Greek that they use in the book of Revelation. And as far as I gather, that goes back to Apollo, which again is a sun god, and so forward. So that would again point in the direction. It's all pointing to, you know, it's all pagan bullshit of sun worship that the devil has hidden away from people. And we need to follow Christ and Christ alone, and not the Antichrist. And the Antichrist, that's the so-called Pope. I call him the Pope. I think that's much more fitting. Every man, in regards to the dynasty of the office and seat of the papacy, every man in that, you know, in that dynasty, is the Antichrist. Is representing this beast of the number 666. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. So take care, I guess. Oh yeah, you know, I've seen images in regards to the tree thing as well, where you have pagan connections with tree. So, you know, to say that there's no connection in regards to the tree and paganism and all that, seems pretty much bullshit as well. And then he will say, well, you know, they use different trees and it's not even the same tree and all that. Listen, when you go from one place to another place, it doesn't need to be exactly the same. These pagan traditions have a way of, you know, evolving and, you know, fixing and so forward. But that does, you know, that's just how it is. So, yeah. You know, if you go from one place to another place, they might not have these trees, right? You know, so they find another tree to use, you know. And there might be coming some new traditions, man-made traditions, satanic traditions to that has nothing to do with the Bible and all that. But, you know, it's just incredible, you know. But to not to see any connection is just outrageous, I think. Anyway, so, yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. So, and of course you can find 666 and many other things in this world. The Satanist seems to really like it, you know. I guess they might think it gives them some power or something like that from the devil or whatever, you know. You know, who knows? Well, yeah, I guess that's might be the thing, you know. Yeah, all this occult bullshit. So, so that's pretty much it. I just got a little stirred up, I guess. Yep. Oh, yeah. Here we have more. To understand why 666 is the magic number of the sun. Well. So 666 is a number associated with pagan sun worship, you know. Which he says, which originated in the mysteries of ancient pagan Babylon. Now, it is interesting in regards of, I think some of them might actually be from that place in regards to these magic charms or amulets. Apparently, it seems like they were used also to protect them or something like that. Whatever, you know, pagan bullshit, you know. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. That's pretty much it for me. I think I'm done. And again, this is the thing that is coming out. So hopefully some point, It should be free if one wants to see it on the internet. Yet they haven't released it yet. And this is the Christmas question. This is from the trailer. Still waiting for seeing the link. Apparently they had it up for a short while. I don't know why they took it down again. That seems weird. I don't know what they are, up to in some sense. It's weird if it actually was uploaded and they then made it private again, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, Maybe they're finding more faults or, trying to correct them before or whatever. Of course, they could just put it up there, right? And then, correct it further and then just update it at some point, I must say, in regards to the other video they had, why not just remove the things that was wrong? If they figured out that some of the things was wrong in the video, why not just remove those things, Was that too hard to do, or I don't know. I just show it. I just show it in the video that this might not be true. This is pop. Because that was as far as I remember, that was still some good information. I think I have seen it, but again, it's so many years ago that I was into this subject. But yeah, Michael Rood had information on things, and Jim Stanley had information. Then so many other places had information about this, and you just search around. Search in lexicons. You just search where you have here and there and all that, and there's enough information absolutely out there to to verify. I think that is pagan, but of course it's up to people to figure out for themselves. Anyway, have a good one. May Jehovah be with you, and Yeshua be a most precious pearl, and the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Bye bye.